This is a grasshopper, and these are locusts. When conditions are just so, certain grasshoppers become locusts, and that can be really bad for farmers because this is what 15 million locusts can do.
So when there's abundant rain in the desert, there's abundant vegetation, and this leads to an increase in the population. All these grasshoppers bump into each other, and they go through a dramatic change in their behavior and physiology to become swarming locusts.
This is Penn State entomologist David Hughes, Huck Chair of Global Food Security and founder of the PlantVillage project.
The mission of PlantVillage is not only to help farmers cope with the stresses of climate change, but actually thrive. And we do that through the combination of world-class data in a cloud system, AI working on phones, and a community of youth across Africa called the Dream Team.
The story of the 2020 East African locust swarms is a study in the real-world impact of climate change. In 2018, an unusually active cyclone season in the Indian Ocean created storms that drenched the Arabian desert. The number of desert locusts exploded, by some estimates increasing to more than 8,000 times the size of their normal population. Over the next year, seasonal winds pushed these insects south and west across the Gulf of Aden, where a wet autumn and a December cyclone, this time in Somalia, kicked off a crisis. Nations across the Horn of Africa now face the largest locust threat in 70 years, with swarms as dense as 15 million insects per square mile, able to consume as much food in one day as an entire town. And the timing couldn't have been worse. It was early 2020, and the entire world was just beginning to notice the emerging coronavirus outbreak in Wuhan, China.
So this was a crisis within a crisis, and actually I was at the UN on the 29th of January talking to the Secretary of Agriculture at the time, and they were really stuck because they weren't able to do surveying across Kenya because everything was shut down and closing. And so it was really important that we could get those necessary surveys for the necessary control. So because we had worked in building apps for them, they asked, could we do this? And essentially what we did was we built the airplane as we were learning how to fly.
PlantVillage had already proven its viability to the UN by bringing agricultural knowledge and best practices to massive numbers of small-scale farmers across Africa. Nuru, an AI-powered assistant distributed on inexpensive smartphones, was designed by the PlantVillage team to diagnose common crop diseases and pests like cassava mosaic disease and fall armyworm. It only took the PlantVillage team a month to build and deploy a new and effective tracking app, eLocust 3M. Before the end of March, their new tech was on the ground, in the hands of volunteers and available to anyone with a smartphone. Team members trained locals in hard-hit areas to track and report locust sightings. Over the next year, almost 250,000 records flooded in. Vulcan, a Seattle-based geographic data company, integrated the PlantVillage reports with a custom version of its own software to direct aerial spraying efforts in partnership with the UN and governments. And it worked. The westward movement of the locusts was halted. The countries in the Sahel, a semi-arid region south of the Sahara, were spared thanks to the spraying. The UN's Food and Agriculture Organization estimated that in all, these efforts saved more than $1.5 billion of agricultural products, the livelihood of 34 million farmers, and the food supply for tens of millions more. The PlantVillage story was covered by the New York Times in April 2021. A few months later, Hughes was hailed as one of the most creative people in business by the magazine Fast Company, and at year's end, Newsweek had added him to their inaugural list of America's greatest disruptors. The PlantVillage team was also recognized by USAID, which awarded Hughes a major grant to scale up efforts across the globe.
We're lucky to be running a USAID Innovation Lab on current and emerging threats, and there are 21 Feed the Future countries. So naturally, our objective is to scale up PlantVillage to those 21 countries from Central America to Asia, which of course is over 1 billion people and they're predominantly relying on agriculture. So the goal is to get there, help over 1 billion people cope with the stressors of pests, weeds and diseases, but at the same time do that in a climate change world.
For more information about the PlantVillage project and to find out how you can get involved, visit plantvillage.psu.edu.
Thank you, PlantVillage.